Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. Today we're discussing the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Chronograph reference 26320ST. You can see and you can purchase this 2012 to 2016 model on our website. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoy these videos, and please click on the card in the upper right hand corner of the screen at any time during this video to see our full sales listing for this watch, with additional accessories included in the sale, high resolution images for your desktop, and naturally complete pricing details for this and our entire collection of pre-owned Audemars Piguet timepieces. Now, the watch on my wrist was introduced in 2012 as part of the first generation of 41mm Royal Oak chronographs. It's only a hair's breadth away from the wrist real estate and stance of the 42mm offshore. So if you're looking to go offshore, but perhaps the thickness of that watch and the stack height on the wrist isn't for you, you might want to consider this model, as it has the same stance, the same presence and gravitas, but far slimmer with greater elegance about its case, bracelet, and dial. Now, the watch is the symmetrical counter variety that was replaced with the asymmetrical dial at SIHH 2017 for the 20th anniversary of the Royal Oak Chronograph, but you can see that fundamentally the fit has not changed since 2012, as the watch is 41mm across the round of the case, not including crown guards, or chronograph pushers. This is where it really picks up a little bit of advantage over the offshores. 11.2mm thick versus the 14.5 to 15 for most of the offshores. It is an integrated chronograph movement, and that's why it's able to be slim. Now, it is a broad watch across the wrist, which is why I often say it's better to think of this as a slim offshore than a larger Royal Oak. So the watch is 52mm from lug to lug, but if you add the plots, these intermediate links that join the case to the bracelet, you get a measurement of 54.9, so it's quite a bit broader. That stance means that there is a lower limit to the kind of wrist that can wear this watch, and I would actually say probably about 14.5 centimeters in circumference. You're going to want to put this one on an Audemars Piguet rubber strap, or simply go without. Look for a 39mm if your wrist is below 14.5 centimeters and you don't want to wear it on a strap. So 14.5 centimeters and up for this watch on the bracelet. It feels like a giant chunk of precious metal. So solid is the combination of case, bracelet, and clasp on this late model Royal Oak chronograph that you really do feel like you're holding gold. Solid but beautifully finished. It's a beautiful brute, if I may appropriate a phrase. This is a watch that has the level of fine detailing, almost the gem-like faceting and polish that you would expect from pure jewelry, and in fact Gerald Genta, who originally penned the 1972 prototypical Royal Oak, was in fact a jewelry designer rather than a watch designer by trade. So you can see the glint and the gleam of polished facets, the perfect hand-finished bevel that swells along the case flank, swells over the lug hoods, and then continues perfectly aligned with perfect tapering width straight down the bracelet. The satin grain across the top of the links immaculately aligned and even, with depth, texture, and coloration that's perfectly symmetrical from link to link. You'll also note the slight polish at the outer face of these intermediate plots that only comes to light when you really bend the bracelet in dramatic fashion, showing you the level of attention to detail invested. On the underside, broad channels to avoid pinching skin, pulling hair, and you can also see the bracelet has plenty of openings to aerate the wrist on a hot day. All sizing done with screws, not pins and sleeves. Double deployant clasp, trigger actuation here, no friction fit, and certainly no clamshell. Double finished, both media blasted and satin finished internally, closing with a snick and a snap and the AP logo engraved on the outside. Now, the case is as finely finished as the bracelet and the clasp. As you can see, the faceting of the crown guards, crown, and chronograph pushers, which are true screw-out models rather than the 26320 that came after, which has screw-down look pushers. These are the real thing. The case is just as beautifully finished as the bracelet. The perfect crease line starting with the bezel, continuing immaculately aligned through the case back. Satin finish on the flank. Bracelet fixed to the case by screws. Again, not spring bars. This is the way it should always be for an expensive and heavy sports watch. You'll note that the rounded, mirror-polished edge of the bezel contrasts beautifully with the satin finished top, and inset, the white gold hexagonal polished bezel bolts standing stridently as they have since 1972, apart from the satin finish of the bezel. The dial, a galvanized blue that had a high rejection rate in practice. As a result, the three principal dials for this generation of Royal Oak Chronograph, silver, black, and blue, were available in exactly that order. Silver, most available, most common, black, less common, and blue, the scarcest by far. Again, it was all about rejection rate and the difficulty of creating this even blue galvanized surface across the hobnails of the tapisserie dial. As a result, most of these blue dials were reserved for AP factory stores and Apex dealers. Scarcely seen, it's beautifully composed. As you'll note, it features the symmetrical counters that were the pre-2017 design, so essentially chronograph hours, minutes, and seconds, registers of the same size. You'll note a polished chapter ring about the exterior of each, and hand-applied white gold faceted indices. There will be a loom shot at the end of the video. Baton-style hands in white gold at center with a white gold lancet-style counterweighted seconds hand and a monotone printed white high contrast 14 on the date disc between 4 and 5, blending in beautifully. Now turning the watch over, you can see the handsome sculpting of those crown guards as well as the pushers and the crown. The case back solid, nothing to see here in particular, just solidly constructed, handsomely finished, containing a Audemars Piguet modified Frederic Piguet 1185. Now this is often called the Audemars Piguet 2385, 37 jewels, 304 parts, vertical clutch and column wheel tandem, and the column wheel makes for a crisp function selection. You feel it and you hear it. It's a tactile sensation. And you'll also note the vertical clutch allowing the chronograph seconds hand to start without any stagger or jump. There's no play in the system. For good measure, the vertical clutch also allows you to leave the chronograph running. So if you prefer to have center hours, minutes, and seconds, just ignore the counters. You'll have your seconds hand at the center running with no additional wear and tear to the movement thanks to the vertical clutch architecture of the chronograph. 40 hours power reserve, automatic winding, 21,600 vibration per hour beat rate, screw down crown and pushers for 50-meter water resistance. There is a quick set for the date, but this watch does not feature hacking seconds. That's one refinement the robustly endowed 1185 base does not boast. However, a thin, fine, integrated column wheel vertical clutch chronograph movement, a high horology caliber for a high horology watch, the best of the valet de jeu in one reference. You can see and you can purchase this Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Chronograph 26320ST on our website. Hi, I'm Tim, and we're back with the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Chronograph. This is the 26320ST. You can see it by the light of day, blue dial and all, and make it yours on our website.